Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're discussing a gentle giant. It's the IWC Big Pilot's Watch Perpetual Calendar Edition Antoine De Saint Exupery, reference 5038-01 in stainless steel. A limited edition of 750 pieces. You can see and purchase this Perpetual Calendar Big Pilot's Watch on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos. And please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this reference 5038-01. IWC has two threads of special series that are thematically and historically related but aesthetically distinct. There's the Antoine De Saint Exupery series, which is the brown sunburst characterization of IWC pilots' watches in the style and spirit of pioneering airmail flyer, French resistance fighter, and author Antoine De Saint Exupery. So this is the Antoine De Saint Exupery. There's also the Petit Prince, which is a sunburst blue motif that is related to a character created by the author. So now that we've distinguished between the two, let's talk about what comprises this big pilot in his honor. The watch on my wrist is 46.2 millimeters in diameter. It has a crown that spans almost 11 millimeters in diameter by itself. Now 46.2, you can see it wears exactly as large as you'd imagine. It's also 56.2 millimeters from lug to lug. So yes, a lug overlap is going to be a fact if your wrist is smaller than about 17.5 centimeters in circumference, but that's not entirely a bad thing, as the watch is designed in the spirit of a historical inspiration that was 55 millimeters in diameter. That somewhat ironically was a Luftwaffe watch, and Saint-Exupéry was shot down by Luftwaffe pilots, so we're just going to leave that historical imponderable unpondered. What you need to know is that the style of this watch is oversized, and thus it fits that way and it looks right as long as you feel it sits right. And I do feel that the watch sits right. It's secure on my wrist. It's not going anywhere. It's not tumbling. Buckled down, the strap would keep it secure as well as comfortable. And though a very meaty strap with sheer cut flanks revealing the thickness of the cuts, it is very comfortable because the underside is supple Santoni leather, created expressly for IWC by the Italian leather goods house. It is the signature signal orange of Santoni, and yet completely invisible on your wrist. Nevertheless, you know because of the comfort factor that that supple leather underlies this robust strap cut. Contrasting stitch in aviator fashion paired with a substantial clasp. Now when you have a large heavy watch, it pays to have a large and heavy clasp counterweighting it on the other side. You can see nicely finished satin and polished to create contrast. It's a handsome buckle that provides a necessary measure of security when donning or removing, as you create a continuous loop so that you can't accidentally drop the watch. It also ensures that this immense watch head has a counterweight on the underside of your wrist to prevent it from porpoising or moving around. The strap spacing, the lug spacing I should say, is a surprisingly standard 22 millimeters. So if you want to go aftermarket, you've got a lot of options. You can even go with a number of IWC option straps and stay in-house. But at 22 millimeters, again, you have plenty of choices available. The case is simple, all of satin finish with a blended lug profile that's true to the original 1940s BR, the Luftwaffe watch that inspired it. There's a small amount of polish that's used to accent the satin. You can see there's a hairline bevel that's lug to lug, thin around the mid-case, flares at the lug ends, as well as a polished facet on the outer circumference of the bezel. The bezel is minimalist, however, as the design is meant to maximize the dial. Looking at it from head-on, you can see the bezel, and for that matter, the rest of the case pretty much melts away. The dial has a distinctive sunburst brown that is characteristic of the Antoine De Saint Exupery series. Let's get a little bit closer now that the watch is off the wrist. We can focus in and really dissect the elements. The sunburst texture comes to life as you bring it into the light. Better in the light of day than in the soft light of my light box. Rest assured, it has a dynamism and explosive quality that truly creates a spectacle given the size of the watch, already considerable. Now, the dial also features appliques in white gold as well as matching hands at center, and they are appliques not printed, so that's a distinction that sets the Antoine De Saint Exupery series apart from a standard big pilot's watch. You'll also note that the dial features an immense amount of calibration dedicated to the perpetual calendar system. You have the millennium, the century, the decade, the year, you have the day, the date, the month, all of it coordinated with the moon phase at 12 o'clock through the Kurt-Claus perpetual calendar system. And what that is an IWC system that allows all of the indications to be mechanically programmed. So all you have to do is turn the crown and advance the date. You see how I'm advancing the date and everything else is moving in sync? And if you can set a 3-hand Rolex with a date, you can set this perpetual calendar. Note the moon phase. Even that moves. So you can't create a combination of day, date, month, and moon that doesn't exist. For that matter, you can't create a combination with a year that doesn't exist. All of it moves in sync. It's a trouble-free, thought-free, foolproof perpetual. Just don't go past the current date because it does feature a year indication. You can't roll it back. The watch features IWC's manufacturer caliber 52610, automatic winding with a 7-day power reserve. It features all the standards. Pull the crown out to extremity, and now you've hacked the balance. You can set the watch to the second. It features the quick set coordinated calendar we just saw, as well as twin mainspring barrels, an upgrade over the older system used in the 50,000 series and the 5,000 before that. You now have twin mainspring barrels to offer a more even torque release. The reason IWC did this was because after years and years of trying to figure out how to get the watch to keep good time if worn full time, they discovered that twin mainspring barrels in series would create a more even torque release and prevent the watch from running very fast or very slow at the beginning and end of its power reserve. The problem with some of the original big pilots and the Portuguese powered by the 5000s and the 50,000s was that IWC rather assumed when the big pilot came out that no one would wear a watch like this all the time. It would be a weekend watch. So it was designed to slow down during the course of the week when not being worn. The problem is people wore it all the time. As a result, the mainspring was always topped off and the watch would run very fast. That demon is finally slain with the twin mainspring barrel model that you see right here. You also note the bridges have been skeletonized to show the works. Moreover, another refinement of the 52,000 series and standard across the range now is this ceramic pellet unwinding system. You can see the black pawl wheel and the pawls. Those allow the system to operate unlubricated, so there's no danger of lubricants flaking off and creating dirt on the movement. Finally, the rate of the balance has been increased. Originally in the 5,000, back in the year 2000, it was a 18,000 vibration per hour beat rate, and so it was on the 5002 Gen 1 Big Pilot's watch. That was later upgraded to 21,600, and now with the 52,000 series, it's a true 4 Hz beat rate with an overcoil hairspring for resistance to positionally induced timing deviation, and a free-sprung balance architecture, so it's very shock and bump resistant. Finally, the watch does feature a screw-down crown, and though you're going to want to put it on a water-resistant band should you envision aquatic activities in your future, the watch has the screw-down crown, the solidly affixed screwed-in case back, and a strong seal setup, so you can use it for surface swimming thanks to its 60-meter water resistance. It also features IWC's quirky blowout protection, so this being a pilot's watch, if you are in an aircraft cabin that explosively decompresses, should you manage to not get sucked out, neither will your crystal or your seals. The watch has that blowout protection. You can see and purchase this stainless steel limited edition of 750 pieces on our website. And we're back with the IWC Big Pilot's Watch Perpetual Calendar Edition Antoine De Saint Exupery, beautifully blazing in blue by night, see it in brown by the light of day on our website.